Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Transatlantic Splatoon League. I am joined here today by Kbot. I am sorry, I'm scuffed on joining as usual. I wasn't prepared for this, which is kind of a 3-2-1, throw right into it, so I'm a bit, bit shaky.
Every time.
We're here.
Every time I let you stream a match, Matt, it's always scuffed. Every single time. It's always rushed. It's always scuffed. I'm trying to do everything in my power to get things set up for you, and you're just always a hair late. Anyway, this is actually our first cast together. For TASL. Actually, it's our first cast together. I feel like the last time we cast together was like an in the zone a long time ago.
I think it was the one that I did on my own channel that wasn't even an official cast. It was literally just like, Sendu, let me cast, please.
Right. Yeah.
On my channel.
And I just joined you because we were like, might as well. And it was a darn good time.
That was really fun.
So hopefully this will also be a good time. Especially given the hopeful caliber of the match that we have here today. And boy, is it an important one. Radiance has to win this to make playoffs. And this is probably not the opponent you want to feel like you absolutely have to win against.
Yeah, I would much rather be seeing a usual guys on the other side of my screen than a FreeZe right now. With how FreeZe have been playing recently, have them as your final, them not only as your final opponent, the opponent that you need to beat, not to get a good seed, to make playoffs. Radiance today don't make playoffs if they don't beat FreeZe. All FreeZe need to do is win a single map and they're in playoffs, so they can lose 5-1. So FreeZe's goal today, win a map. Radiance's goal, win the entire set. So, and with how FreeZe have been playing recently, it's looking hard. It's looking really hard.
It is looking very difficult, but here's the thing that I think gives Radiance, or if you're a Radiance fan, this should give you hope. I honestly think that stylistically, these two teams are going to be very close with one another. I think this match actually is going to go much, very similar of how Rift versus Radiance win, because Radiance is one of those teams that tends to play very passive. They tend to play very defensive. They tend to strike when they know the opportunity is perfect. Meanwhile, FreeZe just tries to run around the map, control the entire map. Mika's playing NZAP. But here's the interesting thing about Mika's play, especially, and I think this is like insane for a support. Mika has more splats, I think, than assists by one over the course of the entire league so far. And that's led Mika to having the third highest splat participation rate amongst the team in the league right now, and the fourth highest KDA. Of course, I say that, and second on splat participations is Obito, which I feel like is very odd. We might need to do some digging into. But I did those calculations today. And there's some interesting numbers to see exactly who has more impact on the map. So those would be kind of, I think, two of the players to watch out for over the course of the day today in terms of who has more impact. Because, I mean, Mika has been on an absolute tear in some of these games as support, not only acting as that support role, like I said, but also being up in your face and not being afraid to take you down.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the advantages of having, like, an NZAP, for example, over a Junior. Because Junior definitely has been taking the popularity recently as your armor weapon. But when you have an NZAP in there, it's a weapon that can be a lot less afraid to hold forwards than a Junior, for sure. And I think that's been reflective in the way that not only FreeZe have played, but how Mika's played. I mean, if you look at the entirety of FreeZe, I've seen situations where you just have the three aggressive people just all closing down on one target at once. It'd definitely be possible to do that with a Junior. It more than it is, right? But it'd still be harder. It'd definitely be harder.
Yeah, definitely will be. And I think it's... I don't even know what to think about this match. I just want to get into it. Like, I'm at the point where I'm just nervous for what exactly is going to happen. This could be a sweep either direction. I don't want it to be a sweep either direction. I want this to be insanely close. I want this to be a game 9. But we're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to wait and see what the teams bring to us today.
The thing that I will say is that I feel like Radiance overall, I did predict them. I would say Radiance overall, this is definitely a hot take right now. No one else on my side. I would class them as the stronger team. However, that's apart from the fact it seems like they're pretty reliant on Stingray right now. That is the one disadvantage that I'd really put on Radiance. Whenever I watch them play, whenever I'm looking at the situations they lose, whenever I'm looking, where they're doing well and where they're not doing well, it looks like the places they're really struggling is where their Ray's either being shut down or that it's being matched. They have such reliance on this special, and they've done so well with it. It's such a strong special. Hypnos is so good at using it. Everyone is so coordinated and good at following up on it. But as soon as the enemy team finds either a strong counter or matches that Stingray, it seems like they can really, really fall. And that, in my opinion, is like the Achilles heel of Radiance. But if Radiance can make sure to not have that level of kind of reliance on Stingray, or if they're able to stop FreeZe from kind of working around them so much, then I feel like they can close out this series. They just really need to worry about that, one thing.
You ready for something a little bit more interesting here, Matt?
Yes.
Like to further prove your point.
Give me something interesting.
Radiance is currently 3-5 in the league on tower control maps. FreeZe is 5-0. Now, if I were FreeZe, I probably would have considered that before I picked the maps today. And as a matter of fact, Radiance went back to TC Shelladorf Institute. Radiance, why are you picking this map? That's the map that could come back to haunt you later in this league.
I like this. I think what it shows is that they scrimmed it 90 times after that day, and now they're amazing at it. This reminds me, I remember watching something once where there was a team in another game, who knows what other game I'm watching, and that map was so bad for that team, they scrimmed it over and over and over, and then they became the best at that team on that map. And then the thing that was used to counter their kind of playstyle, they became so good at, they were beating everyone else on it. I could see the same thing happen to Radiance. They got so upset with that loss, they went on the Shellandorf Institute tower control grind, and now they probably feel really confident on it.
I guess it's fair, and a valid point, right? Honestly, if I was them, I probably would also be doing the same thing. Okay, yep. This map seems like we're just not playing it quite right. And I think you could kind of tell that based off of how they tried playing and tried approaching that game 9 versus in Rift versus Radiance. But enough about that, or actually, well, not enough about that set. Honestly, the reason why we're talking about that set so much is because that is the crucial set that could end up deciding some of these tiebreak scenarios here. And that's the reason why Radiance absolutely must win this match if they want to secure themselves playoffs. If they win this match, they do actually end up in first place overall. So they will get the first seed. But if they don't win, they're completely out.
I feel like,
it is largely because of that match.
I feel like it sounds very obvious, but I feel like we definitely need to see a stronger Radiance than we did versus Rift, because it feels like they're kind of paralleling they're against a team that parallels a very similar style to Rift, but they are clearly the stronger team at playing that style from what we saw from Rift FreeZe. So Radiance will have need to power it up, because I mean, I don't know if people don't remember the Radiance Rift set. Radiance were dominating early on. They just let it slip. They just let it slip when they needed to clutch out the series. If they can play at the level they did at that point, and they don't let it slip against FreeZe, this could be a strong series. And that's why, in my heart, I'm holding hope that the Kiva Grey plot armor will pull them through. The Kiva Grey plot armor will be strong enough, I swear.
And I think you bring up the comparison between Rift and FreeZe. I think one of the largest differences between these two teams is like between Rift and FreeZe specifically is FreeZe. I think a large part of their domination, their control comes from their map control, comes through their painting power. That is oftentimes what I see. I don't know if I can say quite the same for Rift, honestly. With their primary thing is they just have an armor and 2 inkjets and they just go, right? It's just like, all right, we're just gonna send Airsense goes at your faces, and they'll get whatever work done that they can get done. But meanwhile, FreeZe, I think, is a little bit more about map control, about controlling the state of the game overall. Meanwhile, Radiance might try to play into that. You'll probably watch multiple times over the course of the set where Radiance is going to intentionally give up ground, especially when they have the lead. Do not be afraid when you see that. Radiance is trying to calculate their defense to make it the best they can be, but oftentimes it could come back to bite them again, as we saw in the Radiance versus Rift set.
And that's another thing, right? Is I feel like the control that FreeZe have doesn't just come from, them painting a lot, right? That's like a very forehead approach is, they paint a lot, they have a lot of control, forehead, right? But I feel like it's more so they're playing so aggressive, so they're just going to push you out of the map, and they're eventually going to control it. It doesn't matter if they're not playing junior, zap, ballpoint and trying to just paint every corner. Well, they're just, if you do that, you're not going to get the control because you're not walking forward. So they're just walking forward so much, and having Xera's put on so much pressure at that back and nobody able to walk into him, it's really hard to deal with. And also, Xera's has been, I feel like, he was always kind of bigged up, but I feel like through TASL, we've not really sung his praises as much as we could have. Like, Xera's insane.
Highest KDA in the league right now for Xera is at 3.23. For reference, everyone, KDA is total number of splats plus total number of assists divided by total number of respawns. So that just means that not really dying a ton, and also staying alive and being extremely beneficial on the map for the rest of FreeZe here. So, and that's something that we haven't really commented on, because oftentimes Xera's has been overshadowed by figures like Alexei, who's oftentimes being played with Alliance Rogue. We'll see what FreeZe can do here versus Radiance. We get this on the way. Game 1, the starter map, Clan Blitz on Snapper Canal.
Here we go. This is the set we've been waiting for. I'm very excited, and very similar team compositions from both teams, actually. We've got the bamboo kind of zap backlight, but actually, we're seeing the vanilla Hate 3 card for Abito. That's going to be point sensor and missiles. Very, very interesting, actually, Kbot.
Very interesting. One of the things I was talking about, I think on Talk Straight Up or something, was where are the missiles lately? And that is exactly what we're seeing here with the K-Shot and the vanilla H3 coming out, which will be interesting to see exactly how that plays into things on the whole. We'll see if that allows some of these teams to open up a little bit of pressure on the map as a whole as they look to build up their clan economy.
They're going to need to build up this clan economy, and right now, FreeZe have the control. It's hard to see right now, but it does look like they have taken the important areas of the map, and they do have a lot more clans than Radiance do. But Abito right now is just trying to push on this team, and he does manage to get the end zap. Very nice pick, and Kbot's going right now to pull up and, you know, take out the second, and that's going to be a third. That's 3 members of FreeZe going down, and Radiance are going to get the first push off, as long as this K-Shot player can't do too much. But Hypno just takes them out from afar, and they're moving forwards, and they're scoring their clan. That's 20 points in, and they've got more to come. Abito has 8 right now on this angle. He's going to be scoring them, and that lead is going down fast. Hypno's on the side of them, and that goes down to 47 in the first minute. Radiance are putting a statement in the first fight of this game.
Good start for Radiance here, but again, they're not really overextended. You'll notice that they let FreeZe come to them, they punished, and then they took care of the rest of business. Excellently well played from Radiance, and that's exactly the playstyle that we're expecting to see from them over the course of this match, really. But now with the 2-down situation, actually FreeZe doesn't have the opportunity to gain back map control and gain back the claim economy. Control of the game is entirely in Radiance's hands.
Radiance have a big control of the game, but Kbot's playing very aggressively right now, to the point where he might get called out. But no, he's actually very, very smart. Backs off when he needs to, and we can tell, you know, they're now giving the middle of the map to FreeZe in exchange for their ink armor. Oh, I was going to say, now they could go in with their own, but Grey actually goes down, and they don't have the ink armor already. They do go with the double missiles, actually, which forces Mika all the way back. I mean, just, you can see why they're running double missiles. So look how much Mika just had to walk around doing nothing there. They're forced back, and they can't get any push off. Now that you force them back, you can now have the inkjet follow through. That's 2 members down. Mika's forced all the way back, and Radiance have another opportunity to potentially try and find a push if they would follow up right now. Very nice point sensor actually be able to find this member. They might be able to take them out because of that.
Here's the thing, if you're Radiance, you're probably not looking for a push here, especially given the playstyle. You're looking for the couple of picks. You're looking to catch these members off guard as they see one there and able to take that one down. Now looking for the echolocator of the power flame here on the other side, able to take that one down as well. You notice the teamwork coming together for Radiance here. And now they're going to look for the push and the engage. The ink armor comes out for them. They're going to try to step on forward to find one, but it's going to be a 3-down situation. The last one up is Hypnos, going to get taken down as well. And a push opportunity goes sour, but it's still going to buy enough time here for them to hopefully come back in this game, come back and defend the push from FreeZe. That defense from FreeZe was so good. Now I feel like they have the opportunity to push up as soon as they need to, and they have 4 specials on the line, Kbot. It's going to be Mika popping that armor, missiles push, and they're moving forwards. Power Clam is at the ready, and they're going forwards. They're taking a lot of damage, but the end zap goes down. That's going to be Grey going down on the side of Radiance, and a lot of missiles forcing Radiance into a bad position, and so many clams coming through. The lead is going into FreeZe's favor, and Radiance will now push out and try and take them out. Kbot does get one, but then gets traded by Free, and Hypnos needs to find some picks right now. If he doesn't find Mika or Free, then I feel like Free's going to be able to do so much, but he does eventually find Mika, and that will be the, you know, the push kind of going down for FreeZe, but they still have so much map control. It's going to be really, really hard for Radiance to find much to do here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but I think that's down to the 29-point mark, which is actually very crucial at this point in the game. I can't do the mental math in my head right now, but that is at least 2 power claims that Radiance have to throw in the basket in order to come back to this game. We haven't seen a push of that caliber so far, and they're quickly running out of time to do so. 90 seconds left on the game clock here in order to make sure that they can do that. Now they're popping the Incomer just to try to get some map control back, just to find these clams, because they realize they're running out of time. But the problem is they managed to get some map control, but they didn't find any picks, which means they're going to come with that back armor, but it's actually Radiance are able to clean them up. They play passive, they take people out with armor, and it's only the end zap player alive. They do drop down, and they actually get taken out. That's a very unfortunate situation from Mika. There's a lot of clams on board with Radiance, so Kibba's going to come through with 6 right now, but they need to come with more, and that's going to be the power clam coming from Spawn. If they can score this, they can end the game right now. Only 2 clams needed, but the people go down. It's only Grey left alive, and that's going to be FreeZe cleaning up the push with only 50 seconds left to turn this around. FreeZe, you've got to start playing not afraid here. They look afraid. They look nervous. You need to start stepping up. You need to start making the plays. It's going to start with Free here, getting one on two. Hypnos into the backline presence taken out for the time being, but now goes down on the backline to a suction bomb, and that's going to buy a little bit more time here for Radiance to set up their defenses in order to be able to shut down this next incoming push.
And there is going to be an incoming push. We see that armor and those missiles push at the same time, trying to put some pressure on with those missiles and walk forward to the armor. But you just see, I really like, the H3 Bamboo is able to do so much from range. They do score, but FreeZe goes down. They have so much control, and they're not able to walk forwards. Now it's only 10 seconds remaining. This push is not going to do anything. And where are they going to get a power clam from Kbot? They do eventually find it, but they are going to need to come up huge in this final push. With no special on the line and Clam's going off the map, I think it's Radiance's game.
It looks like Radiance's game. All they have to do is maintain turf control. It looks like they're going to find it. Looks like a 2-down situation here. Kbot's going to find one. Now looking for the second here on to Noctis. And I think that's pretty much shut down the game. The final power clam is going to go in the basket, and Radiance makes a statement in game one.
Radiance makes a statement in game one. It's not going to be a sweep, at least. We can say that much. And they will be taking the first game of the series on a Clan Snapper Canal. And, they're probably pretty confident right now. You have everyone doubting you, but then you're a Beto, and you come through and get the 18 KA. And you can't call armor assist bullshit. I mean, you just can't anymore. I didn't even...
Those were missiles.
I should have minded.
Those are missile assists, I guess.
Okay, missile and point sensor assist, sure. But no, we saw a Beto that game. Like, in all seriousness, we saw a Beto that game. I actually really like how that turned out. And I really like the H3 pick on that map. I feel like you can play in such kind of passive positions and paint so much area and not let them move forward. Especially when you, I would say if you're any other player, then yeah, H3 can let people move forwards because it's hard to hit all your things. But when you're a Beto, you can't move forwards into him. You just can't. You have the bamboo and the snipe spamming down as well. It's so hard to move forwards. And that's what we saw. FreeZe only managed to push one time that game. And yeah, it was a big push because, it's hard for Radiance to move out of their spawn when they're put in it. But the problem is, they could only get one push off because of the amount of pressure this comp puts on. And right now, we're going back to the same map. Rainmaker Snapper Canal, this is going to be the Radiance pick here.
And Radiance 6-0 on Rainmaker games so far in the Transatlantic Splatoon League. You have to imagine, given the last performance on Snapper Canal, they're going to probably pick up this one here. But I think it's largely going to come down to maps. I think this is something that maybe FreeZe isn't as comfortable on. At least that's what it looks like so far. They're having difficulty running around the map, getting map coverage that we're so used to seeing from this FreeZe composition. They're having difficulty finding that, and I think that's what's translating into what we saw last game. We'll have to see if they can find it here, although I kind of doubt it.
Finding map control against two Zaps and a CDS, that's going to be difficult. But while we talk about map control, Hypnos is at the back and he pops the Ray. But unfortunately, a Beto goes down. That's the thing. You're waiting so long for this Ray, your entire team goes down before you even pop it. FreeZe have played Radiance. They know what's coming out, so they just hide and they find no value. That was really well played by FreeZe. That's what I mean. If you rely on the Ray too much, it doesn't find the value, then your entire team goes down, and here's FreeZe pushing up so fast with their Ray and missiles. This could be over in a matter of seconds.
Very well could be. FreeZe looking for the push here, now trying to hop on this wall. Mika having a little bit of difficulty getting a little bit more paint down, but now Pedestal jump comes in, and that is going to be the shutdown. 1 point mark. Sorry, folks, my view is a little bit delayed, but nonetheless, it looks like it's going to be another opportunity here for Radiance, assuming that they can break out of this, assuming they can take out the rest of the members of FreeZe in the area. It looks like they're going to be able to do that. So down to the 1 point mark. That's a near knockout. We'll have to see if Radiance can come back.
Okay, but you're going to see it in a second. I'm waiting for your reaction.
What? All right, so that's why we look at overhead cam. Why does it always happen on this map? That's the second time in the Transatlantic Splatoon League that sort of a thing has happened on Rainmaker Snapper Canal. And, all right, make me eat my words, why don't you?
Yeah, well, we were expecting a nice Radiant strong map to be there. Because, I mean, who wouldn't? We saw how they played on Snapper Canal, but, I mean, that just feels like a Rainmaker moment to me, honestly. That just kind of feels like a big Rainmaker moment. What happened is you messed up your first fight. You went down before you got your Ray out, so you couldn't follow up on it, right? The Ray, because the teammates weren't there to follow up, ended up getting no value. And then the enemy team just walked forwards really fast. And that's the thing with FreeZe. They are one of the fastest teams in TASL. As soon as they have the opportunity to walk forwards fast, they're going to do it quicker than any other team. They're going to be in your spawn. They're going to get it down to 1 point. And if you're not careful, they're going to sneak through and end the game under your noses.
And that's the walking forward and running forward presence that we've come to know from FreeZe. You know, the other statistic that I didn't mention is FreeZe is also undefeated on Rainmaker. They only played one game on Rainmaker before today, but that's their second game, so they're still undefeated on Rainmaker. A little bit less impressive than maybe the 6-1 of Radiance, but it'll be interesting to kind of watch this as we move forward. Now heading to the FreeZe pick though, Tower Control Piranha Pit, which is something that I think they're going to be able to cause. One of the things that I was commenting on in the North American division for Supernova was Piranha Pit seems like a favorite map for Supernova, right? In that division. They were able to create so much chaos with so many individually talented and individually skilled players that can paint the map. I imagine that's exactly what the FreeZe game plan is going to be to do here. Now, the question that I have becomes how many blasters are we actually going to see? Because I know that both of these players are like, I'm not going to be surprised to see Gray pull out the Rapid. I'm also not going to be surprised to see Noctis pull out some Rapid as well. So if you're a fan of blasters, stay tuned. Hopefully we'll see something here.
You say stay tuned like someone's just going to sit up out of their chair and leave right now. But no.
Well, I would hope not.
I would definitely hope not too, Kbot. We're going to be going to this map right now, and we're going to see what these teams have to offer. We do see Gray on the Kenza Rapid Blaster. No armor coming out from Radiance. Actually, a pretty aggressive comp, I'd say, from them. Not really, what they go for. We actually see double inkjet, very Rift-style comp right now coming out from FreeZe.
That is very interesting because Radiance is one of those teams that often likes to run double armor. As a matter of fact, before this set, Kibber has played more games on NZAP than on an Octashot or a Tenetech, or a K-Shot even. So, very interesting to see now this no armor style come out of Radiance. We see a little bit of early trading here on the map as the whole. We'll have to see who comes out on top here, but it looks like FreeZe might have the most control around mid, and now Noctis applying so much pressure with this inkjet.
Noctis applying so much pressure and getting 3 KA already. He's showing blaster dominance here. He's showing, who's been playing this weapon for longer, Gray, all right? Sit down. Zeros right now going to be pulling out the Stingray to try and help this push, but one of his teammates does get down, but he does find that crucial pick onto Hypnos, which will stop the backline from putting on so much pressure. There are 3 members left alive to stop, to keep pushing forwards, and there's only 2 on Radiance. So this is going to be really, really good for them. Torpedo right now coming out, but they're not really doing much with, the high firepower that we're seeing from FreeZe, and they're just going to keep pushing forwards, but, Radiance, as we saw, they played passive, then they moved forwards, but such a nice kill from Zeros onto Kiva.
Now traded back the other direction, though, so well done there to try to minimize this pressure as we do see FreeZe start to move forward. Going to get taken down the other direction here, and so much trading back and forth on this map on the whole. Obviously, very neutral so far. Only 1 checkpoint has been cleared by either team, so this game still very much can go either direction, but it looks like FreeZe has had control over the tower for this entire time, even if Radiance has been able to step forward to find a couple of picks here or there. So it'll be, again, interesting to see exactly if Radiance can fully break back in to the kind of hold and lockout that we've seen FreeZe put out, given so much map control they have.
They have a lot of map control, and Nox is going to want to make use of his inkjet thanks to it. The cloud does come out from Radiance, so that is going to be a bit of damage on the map, but such a nice shot from Nox. Oh my god, I want to watch more Noctis Blaster gameplay. He doesn't stop. He just doesn't miss. He just doesn't miss. Noctis with the triple inkjet, all directs, going off, and he's still pushing forwards. He's still pushing forwards. All right, maybe got a bit too cocky. Might get taken out here, but no, his teammate's falling up, and he's still going to be there, putting on pressure in the spawn. Noctis right now is going off. Let's go, Habibi.
Those are what people would say is the Habibi difference. They are Noctis coming in clutch for FreeZe. They move on forward. The specials are coming out for them, and now the inkjet's high in the sky for them as well, continuing this lockout, continuing the pressure. Right now, no one's fighting the tower for FreeZe. They're happy to stall this out here. They're comfortable and confident in their picks and the way they're playing the map on the whole, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Look at how much purple ink is still on the map. Radiance is having a very difficult time breaking back in.
Do you guys mind if we switch Noctis cam for a bit? I kind of don't want to watch auto spec, but either way, it's going to be Radiance on this defense right now. Zeros won't be able to stop anyone, and the free will go down to, so no T-Tech and backline. It's only kind of that midline and, support role that are left alive, so they will be able to find some space thanks to that. But it is going to be the rest of the team moving forward right now. Zeros trying to build up a rate, but Kira right now, waiting, sharking with the inkjet, but the problem is, they've all got armor. If you don't find armor with value with this inkjet quickly, you're going to get taken out. Your team goes down, you only get a trade, and now it's only Hypnos left alive, and he's going to get, taken out here most likely. And he eventually does very, very late, which will mean that it's only Gray and the spawners from Radiance coming back to life to stop this push from FreeZe, and they have the Stingray already.
And here's the thing, we imagine this push is probably going to get stopped at the same point that it always has been, thanks to Gray in this position. Stingray comes out here, trying to apply a little bit more pressure, is going to dislodge Gray, but at the same time, FreeZe is not really worried about stepping forward. They have, for this entire game, have just been comfortable sitting here, waiting for a response from Radiance because they feel confident in their weapons and the way they're playing this map. Like I mentioned earlier, Gray forced to pop the ball and try to get something done. Now it's going to hop on from behind of this tower as FreeZe approaches the second checkpoint. Going to go for the trade here, but again, FreeZe maintains so much control.
FreeZe maintaining so much control, but it is going to be Radiance. They're going to try and take some of that back now. They need to regain some confidence, Kbot. I feel like I've seen the team that's... I feel like I'm watching a team that's trying not to lose, and I've said that, phrase a few times, but I don't want to see that from Radiance. Radiance are a team that should be confident in their play. They should be confident in, taking the aggression they need to, and that's going to be what Abito's doing right now. Taking that post out, it's only Zero's left alive. If they can move forwards and stop him from getting that Ray, that'd be so useful. But hit those needs to get taken out. Beat needs to be careful. If he gets taken out, it's not going to be good.
Not going to be good here. You'll notice how much yellow ink is on the map as we see this tower roll through this first checkpoint. FreeZe is not going to want to contest here, but you notice all of the specials are being used by Radiance to try to push them back even further. They need to find a couple picks here, or otherwise this could backfire when we reach the second checkpoint.
All of the specials being used for not a single pick, and that's due to how well FreeZe played that. I feel like FreeZe are a team that have developed so much and become so good at this, back up, let them drain their specials and just stay alive. Just focus on staying alive. They've become so good at that style, so they can get all their specials, they can walk forwards when they need to, and they can win this game. Only 5 seconds left. We're going to need to see a miracle for Radiance to win this.
They need to see a miracle two-down situation on either side. One's going to try to hop on this tower here, but they need to touch the tower before the game clock is called, and they're not going to be able to do just that. FreeZe goes up 2-1 here overall, and oftentimes FreeZe doing a lot of what I was complimenting Radiance for doing earlier in, as you mentioned, being very defensive, letting their opponent do whatever they wanted to. Again, not contesting that first checkpoint, backing up and waiting for the re-engage, waiting for them to exhaust all of their specials. Brilliantly played by FreeZe.
Yeah, brilliant played. I feel like we saw such a good level of play from FreeZe in pretty much every aspect. I feel like this team has leveled up so much over the course of pre-TASL to right now. FreeZe looked insane back then. They look unstoppable in their current form. I mean, not unstoppable, right? We saw them lose a game earlier. We saw that, they can bleed. And Radiance are a team that's going to be, they're going to need to be the team that makes them bleed if they want to continue in this tournament. But they just look so good right now, Kbot. I don't know what to say. On an individual basis, on a team basis, their kind of, communication seems so on point. I feel like, the one point where I pointed out, I saw Hypnos pop Missile, Abito popped Cloud, and Kiva popped Inkjet, right? So you have 2 specials that are doing a bunch of chip damage while Kiva walks towards an Inkjet. And you think about how that could have gone in the past, you would expect Kbot to get 2 there. He's insane. But FreeZe were just so good at putting themselves in positions to just stay alive. They focused on staying alive, not going down. They didn't take the engagements they didn't need to. And then that's exactly what they did. They didn't go down. They got their own specials, and then they just walked in. They just walked in and rolled them over.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is what we were expecting from FreeZe coming into this, right? We were expecting them to very much have a large portion of control of the map, have pretty much all the control that they could have wanted here. And they're certainly the team at the end of this, if they do end up winning this set, you cannot argue that they are the strongest team in Europe right now.
I almost didn't put the gameplay over, Kbot. We're starting already.
Flat zones, MakoMart, neutral pick here. We see a Tri-Slosher coming out of the Noctis, which is a pick that we don't see very often from him here.
We don't see it often, but it makes sense on this map, and he is very strong with it. It's going to be FreeZe taking the early control, but Radiance is going right back with the missiles and the Stingray, but not a single pick found, and that's going to be a Beto going down. Kiva does find a trade, but not without going down himself. It's only going to be great and Hypnos left alive. They will be playing passive, they will be staying alive, and they will be getting some specials to go back in, but that was just so well played, and for some reason, AutoCam turned itself off, and I don't know why, because I had it on, I promise.
Well, that's unfortunate here, but well done there to FreeZe and able to get this control. Now the question, again, these teams oftentimes have struggled against one another so far in this set, breaking back into the zone. They haven't been able to find the picks necessary, and now Hypnos is trying to find one with the Prey. No luck. The 10 missiles are coming out, and finally Mika perhaps overextends a little bit too far forward, but they're still having to get back in this game. Gray is going down on the other side here, and Radiance has even less pressure in order to try to apply this map. They need to charge up their specials super quick because time is quickly running out.
We're seeing Ray after Ray after Ray, but it's just not finding the value. It's just not finding the value. FreeZe have got so good at playing around it that it doesn't matter. It's down to 20 points already. They're going to repaint over the zone, and that's just... I feel like there's no chance Radiance get back. Maybe they can come back and make a miracle play right now, but they really need to go off in those last 5 points of the game.
Noctis is going to say something else about that. You'll notice how passive Noctis is playing, not holding super far forward, just pinning over the zone, and that's going to be it. That's going to be FreeZe going up 3-1 in this set, and they're looking very strong right now. No real response coming out of Radiance so far.
Yeah, sorry, no real response. You're right, Kbot. But I don't know. I feel like FreeZe are playing so well. They're playing at such a strong level to the point where, you know, they're looking to be a candidate for, you know, a TASL winner right now. I mean, obviously, you know, they're right now fighting for the first seed in Europe, and they're looking strong. They're looking really strong. But I feel like we could see so much more from Radiance. I feel like we're seeing this same style, and this was my fear. This was my fear going in, Kbot. This was my exact fear. We're seeing this style of them charging up Ray. They use Ray, and twice there. Hymnos, it looked like he had the game down. He knew what he was doing with the Ray. But FreeZe just know how to play around it. They've played against it so many times. They've practiced against it so many times. They have been prepping to play against this team, Kbot. So they weaved around it perfectly. None of them went down twice. You can't, you know, put all of your eggs into that basket and get no value twice.
And here's the other like major problem so far is we haven't seen another look. The only real other weapon that Hypnos can go over to is the Bamboozer MK1, right? Having that 10 missiles, but that probably isn't going to have as much of an impact. As a matter of fact, I think Hypnos has kind of struggled a little bit individually on that weapon as well. So, you know, as you mentioned, this is pretty much just FreeZe saying, no, you don't get to use your Stingray. And the other thing is, as you mentioned, the entirety of Radiance is revolving around that Stingray. They're looking for the Stingray to get one, or at least mark some of these members so that they know where some of them are, so they know where to attack with an Inkjet or something like that. They're sharking, waiting for the time to strike, but unfortunately that time just never quite exists if they are the ones that have to make that engage and make that aggressive play to open the door up in the game for them. Now, that said, we'll see what they can do here. Where they're going to their pick, could be their last pick of the series, and of TASL on the whole, in Rainmaker Wahoo World.
Yeah, it could be their last pick, and I'd like to turn a positive light on it for, you know, the Radiance fans out there, because I will say that they lost their pick initially, but that was kind of an unlucky game. After that, it was a neutral pick that was really good for FreeZe, and now it was FreeZe's pick, then it was a neutral pick that's really good for them, but now it's back to a map they want to play on. As long as they don't choke as bad as they did before, they can easily turn this around here.
We'll have to see if they can. Very standard compositions coming out from both of these teams. You notice Obito on the custom dually squelchers hopefully is going to be able to open up the map here with that more range, and is going to work nicely with the rest of this team. Meanwhile, on the other side, of course, not just switching over to that Ken's machine, able to apply so much pressure with these fizzy bombs, and it's just an absolute menace with those arc shots.
It's just a bit of a game of chicken on mid right now. I feel like both teams have kind of... Right now, we're watching two teams that have perfected the style of, you know, kind of waiting for the enemy team specials, then using your own. Right. So we're seeing neither of them use it. Hymnos isn't using the counter Ray, instead opting to try and stay alive, and they live through the Ray. They do what they need to, so now Hymnos has his Ray uncontested, but... Again, it's just kind of this slow game of chicken. We finally find some picks come out from each team, and it will finally be, you know, Radiance taking some sort of advantage, but Hymnos right now is just left all alone. Radiance completely abandoned him, and Zera's just going to stop that push immediately. Now they have control of that top area, and yeah, Radiance, you have control of their side of the map, but you don't have control of Rainmaker at all.
Yeah, Hypnos was the only one around to grab that Rainmaker, and that's probably one of the last people you really want grabbing the Rainmaker, given the fact had that Stingray up at the ready and just was not able to find it. And now the overextension comes in from Radiance. They go 3 down, and FreeZe is going to have plenty of control of the middle of the map. They'll be looking to try to find their opportunity to strike. We already noticed with the respawns coming back in from Radiance, they're setting up in position to try to shut this down.
But that's the thing, you know, you've given FreeZe mid, and when FreeZe have mid, they get scary. They now have the Armor, Inkjet, and Stingray combination, which can do so much, but not until Inkjet gets taken down by a classic Kibba Shark right now. He's on the flank right now, a second member, 3 members going down for FreeZe. It's only the machine player left alive, so that's going to be Radiance's opportunity to walk forward. I'm pretty sure Noctis isn't there to defend right now. He's, in the enemy spawn, so he will get taken down. Right now, the members of FreeZe are coming to, you know, try and defend this, but Kibba right now is here to push, and the rest of the members of Radiance are too. Mika dropping down early. That's not what you want to see if you're FreeZe, but luckily they do manage to take down the Rainmaker and all of that. They're going to back off and try and waste some specials, but unfortunately they do lose Hypnos and all of that, and that will be the end of the push, especially with the Beto going down. Only Kibba staying alive with his Inkjet ready, so that's going to be really big advantage for FreeZe right now.
one thing in that push I would have changed, I probably would like to have seen Kbot charge that Inkjet and then try to find the engage, try to find the picks necessary on the back lines of FreeZe and try to open up another door and another window of opportunity here. Hypnos with the Ray is going to be able to shut down the Rainmaker, and so it's going to stall for time here, which is going to be very beneficial, but no push is safe so far on this map, and we're only halfway through this game. Plenty of time for this to go either direction, and it looks like Radiance is going to look to try to pick this up again with another armor coming out of their own. Hypnos is able to find one there with the help of a teammate, and now one down on both sides of the map, but FreeZe is going to pick up the Rainmaker.
FreeZe picking up the Rainmaker, but look how much yellow they're walking into. That was brilliantly played by Radiance, all in a situation to cave in on the Rainmaker. That's what they do. Unfortunately, they lose Grey and all of that. That's not what you want to see. Kbot right now is going to try and find these extra picks with this Inkjet, but Inkjet and Cloud both expended on mid to find no value. I don't like this play from Radiance. I don't like what we just saw because, you know, unless they're able to charge them back extremely quickly, they've just lost two extremely powerful pushing tools just to kind of walk around mid a bit and not find anything.
Matt, who has the lead right now? I can't quite tell.
It is Radiance. It is Radiance by 4 points.
It is by 4 points, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Radiance does have that at their advantage and does have that to work with here. And one down on either side, so they can try to stall things out. But again, I really don't like the fact, like, playing around either one of these pushes. Both these teams certainly going to be looking to try to make a push. But now FreeZe is able to snap back from behind and find Grey before Grey gets the drop. And now FreeZe is going to rotate back around here. They'll have to walk back into this yellow ink storm that is set up right now by Radiance. We'll see if they can pull it off.
That's a Beto going down, but that's the Rainmaker being traded for it. Two members going down on FreeZe will only leave Zeros and Free alive. They're going to try and find some picks around the Rainmaker. The contest for a bit, no, but Zeros is backing off right now. Doesn't want to get taken out. Has the Stingray and could slow people down. Just trying to, you know, do what he's been doing. Sharky fight thing, but no. Hypnos will win out the aim duel and leave his team up one member and leave his team Stingray up. If he's able to find the second pick on mid, this will be huge, but not if he gives up mid and goes down himself, especially with the flank coming through on the Rainmaker right now. And yep, the flank comes through, will be taken out, and that's only Hypnos left alive. Letting Free stay alive there was so bad. Now there's only 40 seconds left, and FreeZe could easily beat this push of 61, but the Stingray is here. Hypnos is going to pop it, and he needs to find this Rainmaker Kbot. And
he's probably going to find it.
He doesn't do it.
Finds it.
FreeZe live.
Doesn't find it. Okay, so there's plenty of paint there for FreeZe in order to try to take care of business, but we have to see what the approach is coming in. But no, it's another 2-down situation here. Make it a 3-down situation. FreeZe could have plenty of opportunities to storm right on forward. They're going to take the lead here, and they might even look for the knockout. Looks like it is going to get shut down, but all of a sudden the game just got that much more difficult for Radiance to do. Looks like we are going to see a double come through, but what can they do with this?
They need to take the entire map in less than a minute and push, and Kbot, that's it. That's going to be it. Stingray coming through. Grey left alone. 4-1 up is going to be FreeZe.
I don't even know what to think about that game.
I don't know.
It's Splatoon so often is a matter of inches. It is a matter of the smallest plays possible that you can make. And oftentimes, it's a matter of who finds the sum of those small pieces. And in that one case, FreeZe is able to come on through. They're able to take control of the rest of the game, and Rainmaker is one of the largest examples of a map where that can happen. And they're just going to go ahead and take this. Again, that was the Radiance pick. Could potentially be their final pick of TASL, as now we're heading to the FreeZe pick of Splat Zone's Wahoo World. I will say here, things looked relatively promising for a large part of that game for Radiance. So maybe looking at, in terms of, Splat Zones here, maybe they're going to be able to find a way to hold on to mid, but they have to hold on to mid itself, not just hold on to their side of the map.
I feel like every fight I've seen, they're just one thing away from it being such a good success, right? For example, I think the biggest example is when Free was just left alive on mid and able to flank at the end, wasn't able to be taken down, stopping the Rainmaker, making everyone turn around, means everyone goes down, only him was left alive. That really turned the game in FreeZe's favor. And I feel like there's always these little situations where they let one thing loose and it crumbles from there. And potentially that could be our FreeZe always having so many, things that they're pressuring with. They always get something through. But I feel like I don't know how to say this. I want to see more from Radiance because I know they can do so much more. It just feels like they're really letting it slip at the last minute here, Kbot.
It really does seem like it, right? And I don't know what the answer is. Like, I really just don't know what the answer is. But, I mean, I guess the other thing is Radiance hasn't had as many clutch plays as we've seen come out of FreeZe. And that's one of the reasons why I think a lot more people are excited about FreeZe. And we're not going to have a bunch of time to talk about that. I might talk about it after this game. but very similar compositions for both these teams. We see the vanilla H3 come out once more out of Radiance, looking to try to dislodge some of these members, trying to dislodge the Ray on the back line for FreeZe. We'll see if they can do that here.
Missiles Ray comes down early, will allow the charger from FreeZe to go down. That's going to be members up on Radiance, and they're going to try and capitalize with this inkjet coming through. But again, not much value found from the inkjet. Missiles will come through to counter it. Noctis getting low, but not getting taken down, and just rushing that inkjet spot. Not yet finding any value, and Noctis will get taken out. But the trade on Kbot does come through. Kbot firing down the missiles right now, as the T-Tech player will try and push up. That's going to be the case shot, in fact. But now they're backing up. Zone goes over to FreeZe, but it's still an even fight. But the Rays are coming out from, only Radiance right now. Counter Ray coming through from FreeZe though, so we're going to have to see if they're going to find any value with it. And it will be Kbot going down. And Beto going so aggressive, too aggressive. And it gets flipped into FreeZe's favor.
They had the ink armor. They were looking to try to make a play, but they just couldn't quite find it. They were running right on into some of these members of FreeZe, and now FreeZe is going to have plenty of control. I think it's a late 3-down situation for Radiance. I think that's great, just trying to step forward and try to find something here, but it's going to be forced to jump away, and now FreeZe once more has control of the zone. We're going to need to see the break back in here, and the special's getting popped on top of zone.
The jump away keeps him alive and keeps his armor, but it was popped so early, and you weren't able to get zone in time to use it. Luckily, they do recap zone, and Kibba's behind right now using an inkjet, but he needs to find value with this inkjet, and nothing is found once again. That's going to be the members of Radiance trying to follow up and trying to capitalize off it, but they lose Kibba, and they get the zone, but they're going to be pushed back now with one member down. That's a Beto going down. It's only Gray and Hypnos left alive. They have the armor at the ready, and Gray actually will pop it in this 3v4 situation. Now turning into a 3v3, but Kibba's nowhere near mid. Gray's just trying to make a hero play right now in this desperation, but not able to find anything. But he does eventually find Free, and he is going to be on this flank, but Noctis is watching as the Stingray comes down to try and shut down Radiance coming back in, but Hypnos jumping out just leaves Radiance all alone.
Radiance going to live left all alone again. The Stingray's going to come on out. 10 missiles as well to try to take back some control once more for Radiance. They're just trying to look for this, but they haven't quite seemed to find it. Perhaps now they might be able to get it, but it's already contested once more by FreeZe. So much back and forth so far in this game, and it's largely ended and resulted in FreeZe with their large push towards the beginning of this game. They were able to build up a lot of momentum here in this game, and they're the ones that are certainly favorited in the game state right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Radiance have just been trying to break through a force, like a kind of a wall right now, and they've not quite found it. It's going to be Hypnos jumping back again with the Ray. They do have a pick in this situation. They might be able to find something here, but they need to find something with the Ray quickly. A very, very nice point center will allow them to know where they are, and they will find that value thanks to the assist from the point center, but they need to cap the zone fast. They need to find follow-up fast, and they finally do. Gray needs to stay alive right now, and he does, but he needs to make sure he doesn't go down. I really don't want to see Gray get taken out right here. That's going to be so bad. Kibba right now will actually drop to try and, help and follow up, so that's going to be really, really good for them. But if they go down, it's going to be very bad.
This is actually good. I like this. They're getting plenty of map control right now. They're trying to be much more intimidating. And this is one of the things that the Radiance composition is going to do so well at, is locking down this. Oh, notice Kibber on the Shark way up front here. Has the Inkjet at the ready as well to try and snip off this engage from behind. Here's the Inkgummer, and we expect the Inkjet to follow here, trying to find at least this Stingray. But all the meanwhile, the zone flips back the other direction. I don't know where everyone else went, but it's another 2-down for FreeZe. They're going to be able to hopefully come back in here, but Xerath is able to find one on the backside. Xerath is trying to stall things out for a little while longer, but it's going to be forced to kind of back away here with the help of that Stingray. And now the penalty was applied, so Radiance has to work through that once more in order to take the lead.
They need to take that lead, but they have time. It's no immediate rush, but they do need to win this engagement right now. This engagement overall is very, very important. That pick on Free is huge and very, very important. Gray right now is going to be playing very aggressive in Xerath's face. Xerath is going to try and find the pick, but no charge right now. He is getting the tap source through right now, and Gray's not quite able to find it yet. But finally, Gray will take out Xerath, giving Radiant so much control and giving them the lead. They do have control right now, Kbot, but they need to keep it going into what looks like is going to be the final engagement of this game.
We'll have to see if FreeZe can take this back. We've seen them make the clutch plays before, but Radiance playing with their tournament lives right now. They want to shut this down as quick as possible.
But that's going to be it. Before we can even go into anything, Radiance take the game and put it up into a 4-2 situation. They're keeping themselves alive, Kbot, and that was on a FreeZe counter pick. They looked better. They definitely looked better. I preferred how Radiance were playing that game, but they've got a mountain to climb. They've got 3 more in a row they need to take without FreeZe getting a single one.
Yeah. 3 more. To get the almost reverse sweep. I mean, it's not quite a reverse sweep because technically they won game 1, but it really would feel like it at this point. Still, Radiance playing with their league lives on the line. Again, they must win this. At this point, FreeZe is completely locked for playoffs. We will be seeing more from them. However, Radiance needs to take this set win in order to make it into playoffs. If they don't win the set, they won't make playoffs, and Rifts will go in their place. So again, this is absolutely critical, these next 3 games for Radiance to come back from. And I mean, look at the next map. I'm already scared of the next map, Matt. It is Rainmaker, Humpback, Pump Track. We noticed that FreeZe, I mean, like, it only takes one real good play from FreeZe to completely open up this map. Think about Noctis on that Kensa machine. You have to imagine, or even if you're not going on the Kensa machine, probably going to have an Inkjet or something to completely open up the plat area and just allow FreeZe to storm right on up to the pedestal. We'll see what kind of Rainmaker shenanigans happen here. But if you're a Radiance fan, you're able to breathe a sigh of relief, but strap in, because this is going to be a long ride if they want to go to the distance.
Looking at these 3 maps, Kbot, I think this is going to be the hardest one. This is going to be the hardest one for Radiance to take if they're going to want to try and take the series. Because it's Rainmaker, and before today, we thought that was nice for them. They've not managed to beat FreeZe on Rainmaker once. Not only is it Rainmaker, it's on Humpback Pump Track. This is such a FreeZe map. It screams FreeZe to me so much here.
Screams FreeZe. They're just going to be able to run around the map, get plenty of map control, plenty of turf control, and they're just going to continue being aggressive, be in your face all of the time. You're not going to be able to drop off the plat before someone else on FreeZe meets you, because that is exactly the playstyle we expect to see from FreeZe, and they're already doing it with Kbot going down early here. Look at the amount of mid coverage that they have right now. It's another 2-9 situation, and FreeZe is going to be the first one to pick up a Rainmaker.
Mika right now painting for Xerath, trying to keep him alive from the Ray. He will go down to the Ray himself, but you do keep the Rainmaker alive. That's actually very, very, very nice play from Mika, but it will be, and Himbo's just going down right now to the Inkjet. Very, very nice from FreeZe, and there's going to be 3 down already. Only a Beto's left alive, and they're going to walk all the way forwards right now. I don't know what Radiant's going to be able to do to stop this push. They do walk forwards. I feel like FreeZe are a little bit ahead of themselves, got a bit too aggressive. A push of 38 is nice, but it's not winning. You are definitely still in this if you're Radiance.
They're still in this, but a push around that corner might not have been as far as they might have wanted, but still, a push beyond that choke point is absolutely critical. And now we can see, and I expect FreeZe to play much more defensive game. Meanwhile, Radiance really trying to rush this back the other direction. They have to be careful, though, because they want to make sure they maintain map control. 1 down on either side here, but only 1 up around this Rainmaker, and that's the one carrying a Rainmaker. Now they're going to try to swing around this quarter, try to get some points on the board, but here comes the Stingray.
And Beto going so aggressive, and he takes out 1 while Grey goes down, but he takes out so many, and Beto gets 3 in their spawn. It's only Xerath left alive. Kibba's going to need to play so aggressive, but he needs to live through this. Very, very nice movement. Needs to tear out Xerath right now, and he does. Stays alive, but he gets traded, and the Rainmaker isn't able to find any space, unfortunately. Radiance played so aggressively, but because they want to take out the Rainmaker, that's so big. But Noctis going down is so big for Radiance. They can start moving forwards now. The armor's here, and Grey is up, but he's the farthest forwards. He just takes a little bit too much space, and unfortunately goes down. The Stingray right now coming through. If they can target Xerath, it'll be huge, but they find nothing with the Stingray. That's going to be FreeZe retaking control and moving back forwards onto mid with an advantage.
There was no one around Rainmaker or fully able to pop that Rainmaker in its entirety when it mattered most. When the window was there was no one else around to capitalize for Radiance, and that is so unfortunate. I think it was due to some respawn timers or something like that, but nonetheless, it resulted in them not being able to make a push. They're going to have to find another opportunity here very similar to that. We'll see if they can do it here.
They have 3, sorry, Radiance have 3 specials to defend there, so this is going to be hard. They've expended their splashdown, and here comes the Inkjet Stingray. Xerath's trying to find one, but no, going for the Rainmaker, but Himbo's coming through, able to counter this Ray, but the Rainmaker goes down. That's going to be Kbot coming through the Inkjet, though, with a beat on the side angle, not able to find anything, but Mika does go down, but it's only 2 people alive. In fact, 1 with the respawn on the side of Radiance will allow FreeZe to take a lot of control on mid. Kbot doesn't want to get taken down on the side right now.
Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this game. Plenty of time for Radiance to come back in this game. Again, as you mentioned, Matt, earlier, 38, while it is a good push, certainly not something that you have to be completely comfortable about if you're FreeZe. You really have to make sure your defenses are the tightest they probably have ever been here. We'll be looking to see if Radiance can find this window of opportunity. Kbot has the Inkjet ready to try to go onto plat, try to be a little bit more aggressive when that armor comes online here as well. And already the Ray at the ready as well. Inkjet can go ahead, it can get thrown. We'll see if Radiance when they decide to strike, and if it'll actually be impactful.
They have all their special right here. They use the armor early to not much value. Kbot pops his Inkjet after the enemy Inkjet to be uncontested through this. Does manage to pop the shield, but not quite finding a pick. Needs to be careful of his landing. I feel like someone's going to be on it, but no, actually. Oh, yeah, Xerath is on the landing as expected on the left side. Will take out Kbot and jump back now with the Stingray. That's going to be another member of Radiance going down, being the Rainmaker. FreeZe are right now moving into mid, but Noctis goes down as they move back in. So Radiance still have control of this middle area. They are still in this Kbot. FreeZe have the Stingray to try and find some value, though, against the coming up Stingray of Radiance.
I've been watching the clock this entire time. This is, again, Radiance, you have to make a push. You have to be able to come through with this, and Zera's just going to shut that one down almost immediately before it starts. The Inkstorm comes out here, but now it's going to get completely painted over, and they're not going to have that as another point of pressure. Zera's with yet another Stingray is going to look to try to shut that Rainmaker once more, and again, it's just going to do so well at doing that. The defense is held so far for FreeZe. We'll see if they hold for the last 50 seconds.
Gray stuck in a really bad situation there, loses the Inkarma and goes down. So now Radiance pretty much only have one situation, because right now this isn't the situation to win this game, and Kbot goes too early. He gets taken out, he gets impatient, and the Stingray is going to come through. It will find the Rainmaker, but there's only 30 seconds left. Radiance right now, they need to win this engagement, they need to paint middle of the map, and they need to push into FreeZe's side of the map without going down at all. It's doable, it's going to be a mountain, Kbot.
It is certainly going to be Mountain, especially if that's what we've built up for the rest of this game so far. They have the Ink Earth already. Here comes the Inkstorm as well, but they need to get back to that choke point on mid. I'm surprised actually they're not trying to push up that left side there. I don't know if there's anyone there, but now they're trying to swing around this corner. There's no one in front of the Rainmaker. Here comes the Stingray. Want to try to paint this up.
Kbot goes down in the Ink Jab. That's so bad. Noxys now moves forward and takes out the Rainmaker, and that is going to be it. FreeZe knock out Radiance out of TASL, take the first seed, and Radiance go down 5-2 in the Transatlantic Splatoon League. And that's it. That's it, Kbot.
That is it. FreeZe is going to go 20-3 in games over the course of this league. They're looking largely dominant on the European side of things. There were so many opportunities there for Radiance to try to find something, but that's the thing. We know that Radiance isn't one of these teams that's going to make those brilliant, flashy plays, and they couldn't find any of those openings over the course of this set, and it's ultimately what is going to mean their end. Just well done there, of course, to FreeZe for being able to play defensive on the whole. Again, another fantastic set that I'm curious to go back, watch the overhead view, try to figure out exactly what went wrong here for Radiance. For Radiance, that's it.
Yeah.
They're out of the Transatlantic Splatoon League. They will not be making playoffs. We will not be seeing this team.
It's such a shame, because I feel like Radiance right now, it feels like, maybe out of all of the Transatlantic Splatoon League, looking to be somewhere on the 5th to 3rd best team, right? If you compare every team, right? That makes sense for an estimate. But I feel like they're if they clean up their play by an extra notch, they'd suddenly just shoot to the best. Because from what we saw in that series and how we saw these engagements play out, it felt like they had such good control, they knew exactly what they were doing, and they just let something slip. They let the ball drop every single time, and they couldn't find it, Kbot. They couldn't find it. And that's what allowed FreeZe to do whatever they want. That is what allowed FreeZe to walk over them so much. But I mean, FreeZe played fantastic. FreeZe are looking to be so good at the game. I think a while ago, halfway through TASL, said something like, if Radiance makes playoff, I think Radiance will win. Otherwise, I think FD wins. Honestly, I'm starting to look at FreeZe now. I'm really, really starting to look at FreeZe. They look so good at this game. Honestly.
And that's one of the interesting things. We haven't seen these teams play against one another cross-divisionally in a competitive setting. We know that FreeZe and FT Win, honestly, know each other so well. They were scrim partners. They have been scrim partners for a long time now. And I think perhaps that's a little bit of it here, right? FreeZe with their overall, they were just able to keep up at the highest level, whereas a lot of these other teams, I imagine, were formed for this, weren't playing the game much at a high level before this league. And FreeZe, with the extra couple of months of practice and everything, it certainly has paid off so far. They're looking very clean. They're looking very strong as we head towards playoffs. As a refresher, everyone, since I see some questions in chat, the way the playoffs are going to work, well, first of all, the European division has now concluded. FreeZe is going to come out first with their game record of 20-3. They went 4-0 across the rest of the league. And I believe Rift will be the second team out with a score of 3-1. Radiance also has a set score of 3-1, but because Rift took the head-to-head in that game 9 versus Radiance, Rift will be moving on into playoffs. FreeZe is going to come out first seed. Radiance will come out second seed in Europe. FreeZe will play the loser of tomorrow's match between FT Win and Starburst, and Rift will play the winner. So it'll be NA1 versus EU2 and EU1 versus NA2. That'll be the single elimination playoffs bracket that gets played on a single day in December to crown the Transatlantic Splatoon League's first champion, which will be very interesting to watch out for as we continue progressing on forward. Of course, plenty more about that playoffs day in terms of when that day is, and more information, more reminders leading up to that day will come on the Transatlantic Splatoon League Twitter account at TASL_SPL. Drop a follow. I'm sure we'll plug it more later. That's just kind of a brief overview of what's happening so far, but congratulations go out to FreeZe. Again, I think 20-3 is very impressive given the caliber of teams, especially the top 3 teams in the European division.
I think we've seen a brilliant caliber of play for these teams. I think, I'm really excited now to see these teams play against, like you said, the most exciting thing is seeing them play against NA. I'm excited to see tomorrow's game on 9hole Grains' channel with Dr. Prodigy and him. That is going to be FD win Starburst. I'm really, really hyped for that because Starburst, I've heard, if anyone's going to be FD win, it's going to be Starburst. That seems obvious, but it's looking more and more likely as, things progress with different teams looking better, different teams looking worse. It's looking more and more likely. I'm still predicting FD win to win. Who doesn't, right? But Starburst are going to be a big threat for them. And I'm very, very excited to see how those two teams are going to do against each other and how those two teams are then going to face against Radiance. I saw Radiance on my screen, so I read it out, against FreeZe and Rift.
Hey, the other thing, right, is as I mentioned earlier, the loser of that NA match plays FreeZe in semis.
Yep.
So neither one of these teams probably want to do that. So they're both going to make sure that they can win that. Of course, that again will get played out tomorrow. If Starburst does win, it'll be a same tiebreaker rule where because Starburst would have taken the head-to-head victory, they would get the first seed. So still plenty of Splatoon to get played out here, most notably the match tomorrow. And then, of course, in December, we'll be coming at you on the Endgame TV Twitch channel, actually, for TASL playoffs, hopefully. So look forward to that if you're looking for the next time that we'll see these European teams. Hats off to Radiance for coming out here. Again, so much promising. So much looked like it was going in their favor, especially in that game 1, right? But maybe it was just an awkward map for FreeZe. Maybe they were just warming up. I don't really know what the excuse is. But what I do know is that Radiance certainly has played very smart over the course of this league so far, and certainly something that we should comment on and commend them for.
Yep. But I think that's gonna be today. If I, unless there's anything else I'm gonna get stopped by, but that's gonna be today. Again, tomorrow is gonna be 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have the match on 9hole Grains' channel. If you don't know the time, then go to the TASL Twitter. That's always the answer. TASL_SPL is going to be 10 p.m. Central European time. Again, tomorrow hosted by 9hole Grains, and Prodigy is going to be on as a guest, so that's going to be really exciting. And then playoffs, I'm so happy I don't have to produce because it's a nightmare having to produce and cast at the same time. But follow TASL Twitter, watch all the VODs. That's going to be okay, Kbot. What else do you have to say?
That'll be all. 24 hours from now, the North American finale begins for the Transatlantic Splatoon League. You will not want to miss that. And we will see you all in the Twitch chat tomorrow. With that, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you stay tuned for future Transatlantic Splatoon League action. And with that, we'll go ahead and sign off. All
right. Thanks for watching, guys. That's going to be me and Kbot. Keep up with TASL. There's so much more to come. We're only just finishing the regular season. Playoffs are going to be hype, so make sure to catch it, and that's going to be all. Bye-bye.